Hello, Internet, and welcome back to the Story Nook. Today we will be reading more of I'd Rather Have a Cat Than a Harem, reincarnated into the world of an otome game as a cat-loving villainess. Our author is Kozuzu Kobato, and our artist is Hinano Chano. And we are still in chapter 11, and we are up to page 210. And actually, we don't have that many pages left here. So that's kind of amazing. Because this book, the file I have is 230 pages, and we're on page 210. I'm also thinking about reading one of my short stories that I have published. Or any of, like, my older books, if y'all are interested. Most of my books are available on most, if not all, ebook retailers. So that would probably be a live stream. That'll be privated afterwards. But leave, let's say, a blue heart in the comment section if that's something you would like to see. And leave a green heart if you would like me to read book 2 of the Wizard of Oz series, since I know the Wicked movie part 2 is coming out soon. So, yeah, let me know. Give me that feedback. I could use it. No. Hold on. Letty said that the first time she saw Amy, she had been healing a student's injuries in class. Were you there too, Ed? No, I was at the Royal Palace that day. I heard about it afterwards, though. It had been a few days after Amy had started going to the Royal Academy, and it was the first time she had used her healing magic in school. On that day, a captain of the Order of the Knights had visited the school. His proposal for a special contest had been accepted by the students of the swordsmanship class, and their lesson for the day became a contest of real combat. The students, confident in their combat skills, and those who wanted to join the Order of the Knights, had unanimously raised their hands, and it was true that they had a fruitful class. But naturally, there were more injuries than usual. The captain fought against the students, naturally. He took it a little easy on them. There hadn't been any broken bones or gashes that needed stitches, and most of the injuries were minor. One of the students who got injured was a younger friend of Harold's, whom Amy had met before. She had passed by the boy by chance, and had offered to heal him. When the other students saw her healing him without leaving the faintest scar, they all clambered over to ask her to heal them too. Amy continued to do so until Sir Dion realized what was going on. And then a sharp look made the boys scatter away from her in all directions. Although Amy had been pale in the face, on the verge of depleting her magical powers, she had continued to heal them with a reassuring smile. She didn't refuse a single person, always prompting the next person who needed help to come forward. Letitia had watched the entire thing from a distance. Letitia wrote recently that she'd been worried that Amy is too generous. Yes, well, that's true, admitted Edward. When it came to situations regarding animals or healing magic, Amy often didn't look after herself as well as she should. Edward had noticed this himself, not long after he started seeing her regularly. I don't want her to overdo it, though, Edward continued. But she won't stop, will she? Edward chuckled at Jahal's perspective observation. Amy wasn't usually self-assertive, but Edward had noticed she was stubborn when it came to healing magic, or rather, Amy felt compelled to use her powers as much and as often as she could. The number of people who were able to perform healing magic was limited, so for the kingdom's sake, Amy's powers were very welcomed. But Edward wouldn't want someone to use healing magic so much that they ended up hurting themselves, especially if that person was the girl he loved. Even so, Edward couldn't push back too strongly against it, because when Amy used her magic to help others, she looked so full of life. That was one of the reasons she gave when Edward had previously asked her in a roundabout way if she felt her healing magic was a burden. "Being able to heal people with my magic makes me really happy," she said. "Of course, it's nice when people tell me they appreciate it, but it's not just that. It kind of gives me peace of mind. It reassures me that I really exist here, in this present moment." They had been at the royal riding grounds then. Amy had spoken quietly as she petted the horses that came up to her, almost as if she were talking to herself. Being that he was the third prince, Edward's parents hadn't been sure how to deal with him growing up. By contrast, the Northland family must have cherished Amy and raised her with love. There shouldn't have been any question that that was true, considering the personalities of the Earl and the Countess of Northland, whom she occasionally met, but Edward was bewildered by the way Amy spoke, like she felt uneasy about her own existence. As if she hadn't realized what she said, she immediately started talking about something else, her face totally impassive. However, that sense of discomfort was enough to linger in Edward's heart. It had been 4 years since Edward had first seen her face. Over those years, she had opened her heart up to him quite a bit, but there was still an invisible line in the sand that he was never allowed to cross. Amy's obsessions with animals and healing magic. Amy's obsessions were animals and healing magic. The final key to her heart was definitely hiding there. And because Edward had realized this, he couldn't force Amy to stop using her magic. Of course, Edward had done everything he could think of to make sure nothing went badly. And that wasn't even accounting for the presence of Sir Dion, the High Magician who was like a second grandfather to her. "If you're that worried, why not just force the engagement?" "If only I could," said Edward. "Huh? You didn't just come down here as the prince. You came down here because you wanted to win Lady Letizia's heart, didn't you?" Edward asked smoothly. Prince Jahal raised his eyebrows and smiled. "Guilty as charged. Let's give it all we've got then." "Yeah, but I won't lose, you know. I've got a head start. My engagement is already decided. It's not a competition, Jahal." "Really? Well, yeah, you're probably right." Then the two princes strolled around the grounds, shoulder to shoulder, until the bell rang announcing the end of class. And thus, we have our intermission. Intermission chapters tend to only be like a page or two. So we'll go ahead and read this chapter. I'm going to go ahead and change my chapter title. There we go. Chapter title changed. There we go. Intermission. A prior day in the kingdom of Bak. Buildings painted with sparkling arabesque patterns towered upward under the endless blue sky. From the tall, rounded ceilings to the cool stone floors, every inch of them was covered with detailed patterns. Fresh spring water flowed into the courtyard with ivy-tinged arches, and soft water droplets glistened on the trees. The royal palace of Buck is like an oasis in the desert. Marquise Elphelstone, the coordinator with the kingdom of Ludicia, where Bark's first princess was to be married, lived with his family in one of the small palaces. "A present for you, Lady Letizia," said one of Letizia's maids. She was wearing the clothes of this kingdom and was politely holding out a basket covered in cloth. "From Prince Jahal, right?" Letizia took the basket, assuming it was rare exotic fruits again, but she was surprised at its unexpected lightness. Just then, she started feeling vibrations. Something was moving inside the basket. "Huh? What is this?" she asked. The prince said he was sure it would make you happy. Leticia softly removed the cloth and saw a beautiful white fluff ball. It had black spots all over its bodies and was squirming around restlessly. It briefly raised its face and revealed, unexpectedly, large, thin ears. The eyes glittering up at her were gooseberry green. Cat. Her name is Mimi. It's a cat, right? Yes, it's a cat. Why would he spring this on me? Meow. The cat's meow was smaller and higher pitched than a baby's cooing. It was like, meow. But Leticia looked terrified and started to tremble, as if a tiger had roared at her. The maid looked at the master's daughter with delight. It meowed, cried Leticia. It did, my lady, because it's a cat. With a look of utter amazement, Leticia's head whipped back and forth between the kitten in her hands and the maid. What should I do with it? Love it and cherish it. No, I know, but not that. I mean, what should I do? It moved. It did, my lady, because it's a cat. Leticia had frozen in place, still holding the basket. When the maid finally broke into giggles, Leticia was too paralyzed with fear to chide her. This was the best reaction to all of his gifts so far, said the maid. I'm sure this will make Prince Jahal happy too. That's not the point. Meow. It meowed again. It did, my lady. Like I told you, it's a cat. Leticia had never actually had a pet before. Until then, her life in this kingdom had been overwhelming and directionless. But after that day, things changed drastically. And I shall save the next intermission for next time. So, thank you all so much for being here. Remember to stay healthy, stay hydrated, all that good jazz. And let me go ahead and pull up Patreon supporters so I can go ahead and thank them. They're awesome. List of Patreon supporters right there. Kaleidoscope Chick, Tweed Tea Cakes, Axel1154, Cassie G, Jetta DS, Axel Alcaraz, Semi-Random Sevens, and Micah. Remember, if you ever want your name to be read at the end of these videos, you can either donate on Patreon or Ko-fi or commission me on Ko-fi, and your name will be read here as a thank you for supporting me. So, yeah. I also have books that I have been writing and working on and publishing as ebooks that you can get in most ebook stores. The first one, I'm currently working on a series called Cute Fluffy Gay Shit, and it's where I write short stories that are simply cute, adorable, fluffy gay short stories. The first one is The Kelpie Makes Dinner. I've got Sunbathing and Breakfast. And probably around Thanksgiving, or maybe today if I feel like it, I will publish book 4, which is Canning. Currently, the pattern is Yaoi Yuri, and then the final one will be the poly couple, if I can get that poly couple written correctly. But right now, I have plans for 10 of them, and I'm working on them, in kind of a shuffle. I write a little bit for one day, a little bit for the other day. Other ways you can support me, I sell my art on stickers and stuff on Redbubble, if you're interested in that. And next year around my birthday, I'm hoping to be selling merch, like physical merch, through my Ko-fi. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, let me know. And have a lovely day. Bye-bye!